Incoming transmission.
The Klingonese word of the day is short.
These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise.
Engage. So, this is a huge victory for the good guys.
Scotty, beam me up.
Resistance is futile. Live long and prosper.
Boldly go where no man has gone before.
Greetings and welcome to the Computer Resumed podcast, the show covering the entire Star Trek franchise in chronological order for fans new and old. I'm your host, writer-comedian Mr. Todd A. Davis. It has been too long since we've spoken with our guest today, and even longer since we've rolled dice. Please welcome back to the show our official Gorn Ambassador from the Starfinder YouTube actual play, CosmicCrit. It's Drew Burriss. Yay!
Hey, everybody. It's been a while.
Welcome back, buddy. How you been?
I've been doing good. I've been doing really, really good. Just
nice.
Hanging in there, living life, and uncovering ancient relics from the past.
Oh, wow. For anybody who's just listening, Drew has what looks like a pretty authentic TOS era communicator. Is that one of the replicas or
so? This is from the 1990s when the Playmates company had the rights to Star Trek.
Wow.
And I recently visited my parents a few months back, and because I needed to identify where my Star Trek stuff was. I knew where some of it was, but I didn't know where all of it was. But I didn't have enough space in the car to take it. So I just grabbed a couple of things, and this is the TOS era communicator. This thing was like $25 in the 90s. It's so good. It's really, really good. I was smart enough to take the batteries out before I put it in storage so that nothing's corroded inside, but I have not been brave enough to put batteries back in. But I have it now as a little desk fidget because I realized back in the day, because it doesn't, it goes as far back as you want to get like the kind of Kirk look. Figured out where to put my finger to have it just actually lock in. Figured that. I also grabbed, and this one makes me sad because there's something rattling around inside, but this is the TNG tricorder from the same era. And look at that screen. That screen's like the size of a quarter. How did anybody ever use that screen? But this was high tech in 1990.
Dude, did I ever tell you I was trying to find an old communicator so that tricorder so that I could dress up as a Starfleet officer and go to professional wrestling events and try to get seats by the ramp so that as each wrestler comes out, I can scan them and then either shake my head or nod my head.
What's funny is a few years ago, I bought a tricorder just for a Halloween costume.
Oh.
And sadly, it's upstairs somewhere. I don't know where it is, but it even said on the reviews, like, this is not full size. This is small. And it was literally about that big. Like, it was a little tiny, like if Zoolander had a tricorder, it was that kind of tricorder.
God, that is such a perfect visual.
And when you opened it, it would only make the noise. It would make the noise until you closed it. There was no button or anything. It was just on or off, and it was loud. I had to put a couple layers of gaff tape over the speaker because it was so loud.
Wow, dude, that's awesome though. I don't know if you caught my my little Instagram reel where I put my Playmates Geordi and Data to work. Have you seen the video or heard the sound clips of this Deja text message dating drama. Have you seen those or heard of
I don't
those?
think I have. No.
Ask your wife, because my wife introduced it to me. She's like, you have to hear this. This is absolutely bonkers. But it's about this young woman named Deja who is in bed with a guy. She checks his phone, sees there's a text message from who she believes to be his girlfriend that says, be home in 5. And it's just this, it's this text exchange between Deja and Deja's best friend over what she should do, and it's insane. If it some studio executive is going to be like, you know what, we need this as part of our fall lineup. Like, we have to get the rights to this. This is absolutely bonkers. But yeah, I took the audio and made it look like Data was Deja, and yeah, I had an interesting time learning how to edit video on my phone on Instagram. I'm reminded of how old I truly am.
Yeah, my son in the car today was asking me what my favorite and least favorite actors who played the Joker are.
Oh,
And of course I've raised him well, so his top two go back and forth between Batman the animated series voiced by Mark Hamill and Jared not Jared Leto. That
I was gonna say you might want to take that back about raising
and
right.
The Dark Knight. Why can I not remember his name right
Heath
now?
Ledger.
Heath Ledger. Good Lord. But what he said to me, and this is what stuck out of my head is, oh, Dad, nobody would, if anybody ever says the Jay Leno version, oh, they're just absolutely wrong. They're absolutely wrong. And I laughed and laughed and laughed because obviously it is Jared Leto that we're talking about, but I just
right.
I don't have a good Jay Leno impression, but hey, you hear about this Batman? You hear about this? You heard about this? Hey, this Dark Knight, he calls himself. Just a Jay Leno Joker would be very awful.
So that's gonna be our next audio play, is because honestly that's not a bad Jay Leno, truly.
Thank you.
I'll have to pull a Joker monologue and we'll just have you as Jay Leno as the Joker.
You ever dance with the moon of the pale the pale moonlight? I can't remember.
But you know how you dance with the devil in the pale moonlight.
It's the devil. That's it.
Oh man! Well, it's been so long since we've chatted. I was wondering, did you have a chance to view Starfleet Academy?
I did, in fact, have a chance to view Starfleet Academy, and
you're a pretty discerning guy. I imagine you have some thoughts about it.
Yeah, let me tell you, I loved it. I really, really loved it. I thought it was great, and I'm really looking forward to what will sadly be the last season.
Yeah, unless Q grants us a miracle or something. It's gone too soon. How is Starfleet Academy going to be shorter than Enterprise? Like,
well, I mean, that's as much as it pains me to say it, like Lower Decks has as many episodes as 2 seasons of Next Generation.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's a little more than that. I think did it get to 50? I think it got to 50.
Yeah, 10 episodes a season, 5 seasons. Yeah.
So like just about 2-ish seasons of old school TV.
Yeah.
And Discovery and all the others and Strange New Worlds are all in the same boat, unfortunately. Just the difference of what the streaming landscape is.
Yeah. Time is definitely showing in some of our newer Star Trek entries. But yeah, I really enjoyed it too. I think my wife enjoyed it. It's a little she was having trouble with some of the names. Frankly, I was too. Yeah. I'm known for having referred to one of the characters as Fish Boy. And winning a point.
I know exactly which character you're talking about. And you know what? I don't remember his name either. But that's okay, because like I mean there are characters on Discovery that I did not learn their name across 5 seasons.
Yeah. It's tough.
But It is what it is, and
Right.
I'm sure we'll talk about that in much more detail.
Yes. Folks, if you want to hear Drew and I gush about Starfleet Academy for a little bit, amongst other things, I'm sure, please consider going to Patreon, subscribing. Hey, if you met me in a bar, would you buy me a beer? Like that's about as much as it'll cost you a month to help support the show. It's just me over here just putting this together. So any little scratch you can throw our way would be greatly appreciated, I assure you. And you get a shout out. You get a shout out in the just before the recap. So we do appreciate anything we receive from our Patreon supporters. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about an episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And I'm so glad I was able to get you on for this one because it involves role playing you are not unfamiliar with.
No,
especially in the Star Trek realm.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm just going to go ahead and pick my bone with you right now. When are you having me back on for another season of Star Trek Adventures on CosmicCrit?
Look, there's been a whole Star Trek Adventures second edition that that has come out. I think about it all the time. It's just like, it's one of those things where I need that lottery win to be able to focus on a bunch of different projects, but it will happen. It might take a gap between Star Trek theatrical projects, but it will happen.
Yeah, I was telling somebody the other day about Lieutenant Commander Folos Indelev, my my Andorian security officer who's obsessed with 90s culture, meaning I guess dad rock and professional wrestling. Picture John Cena as an Andorian. That's him.
Blue Cena.
Yeah, Blue Cena.
You can't see him, but that's just the cloaking device.
Yeah, that's right. God, I gotta use that. But yeah, I had so much fun with that, and we've tinkered around with some D&D stuff here on the show, stuff that has not quite seen the light of day, but is currently under construction, to reference the J.J. Abrams teaser trailer from 2009. Yeah, we've got some interesting things in the work here, but you guys have been playing Starfinder, I imagine, and other space TTRPGs.
It's mostly been Starfinder.
Starfinder.
We've dabbled in a couple of other things. Like we did 3 episodes, maybe 4, on the Alien TTRPG a couple months back. That was
I would have jumped in on that.
I can't remember if that was a Patreon exclusive or not, but that game was fun. Really? Because everybody gets their main goal, but some people get secret goals.
Oh,
because it's Alien, you know.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it encouraged people. Like everybody's got like their ally character and their rival character that are of the cast. At least as far we played a pre-made set, so all of this was kind of baked in, which I think made that work a little bit better. But man, there was some drama in those episodes.
That's awesome. I've been dying to get a group together because I have the Blade Runner RPG.
Cool.
And the cool thing about that is you are actually investigating cases. And it's kind of left as an option that the players can choose, or that the DM can choose, or the DM can choose and keep it a secret, or the players can choose and keep it a secret, or let it be known, or whatever, of whether or not a particular player character is human or not.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
and
really
I
cool.
found in addition, I mean, I love the detective angle, but having that extra layer of mystery amongst the players themselves is pretty fun. Like, yeah. I love that.
And for any of our listeners out there who are interested in role playing games but haven't checked out Star Trek Adventures, I'm not an official representative or anything like that, but I assume both of us loved playing that game.
Yeah,
because it
yeah.
feels very much like Star Trek. So much of that stuff so much of the gameplay is based around solving problems and not
Mhm.
necessarily shooting things with the phaser.
Yeah.
I prepped for one of the episodes that we recorded. I prepped 4 fights that
Yeah.
were all avoided because of different things. And and from what I have, what I've read of the second edition rule set, they've taken that and they've run with it to iron out some of the things. Like, honestly, the one thing that was sort of the thing that really didn't work as well for us, I think, was combat when it happened, and they've ironed out a lot of that stuff too. But when you're creating your character, you literally start them with their early life. You have a whole character backstory section that's about the academy and stuff they learn at the academy.
Ooh.
And then as they go into their careers, it's such a cool game. And you're also encouraged and kind of required to play more than one character, because you might play the first officer, but the first officer might be on a mission on the ship, while you have to play Ensign Jimmy on on the ground. And if you like those characters can also get promoted, and there's this whole rank structure on your ship that it's so cool. Check it out, Star Trek
Nice.
Adventures. They do humble bundles for this from time to time so that you can pick it up real cheap. That's the only reason I have a copy of the book to begin with. I have my copy of the Lower Decks companion guide sitting right next to me right now, because it's really, really cool.
That's awesome. I this last Trek Long Island, I guess that would have been the fourth, the third, whatever one happened, 2025. There was a room that was running an actual play for people to sit in, of Starfleet, Star Trek Academy. I'm sorry, Star Trek Adventures.
We're stuck on the Academy. It's gonna stick in our craw forever.
Here's the thing. I'm stone sober. Like, I'm totally fine. I'm just having problems connecting the words to my mouth. Sorry. But yeah, they did that, and I had a room upstairs where I was you good. Moopsie. God, I loved Moopsie.
I have a couple of them.
But I had a room
I get easily
upstairs.
distracted.
No, that's fine. I had a room upstairs where I ran it was a Star Trek themed 5e one shot. That was a lot of fun, because I got to base it on some actual history, and I pulled people out of the audience to play, and we just had a great time. It was a lot of fun. I think we had probably 20-25 people watching us, but like everybody was glued to our table, like just like, this is awesome. And I had a blast writing it.
Star Trek is cool.
Yeah. But speaking of role-playing games, we get to see pretty much that exact thing here in Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3, Episode 4, A Space Adventure Hour. Not to mention a whole bunch of Trek Easter eggs. Do you recall, staying spoiler-free, do you recall seeing this the first go around, and what your thoughts were, and how you felt on the rewatch?
So I will say Season 3 as a whole of Strange New Worlds is kind of in a weird spot for me mentally.
Yeah.
Because I'm one to say that the Lower Decks crossover in Those Old Scientists in Season 2 is one of the greatest Star Trek episodes of all time.
That's fair.
And it is very funny and silly and doesn't mean anything, but it gets the heart across. And my sort of, and I know there was a writer strike and an actor strike and all sorts of strikes going on when the season was being made. And
oh yeah,
they had the scripts that they had, and they had the availability that they had. And I thought to myself, I think this season overall is a little weaker for me personally, but my debate was, I wonder how these episodes read in isolation. And I'm pleased to say, because this is one that I actually really liked the first time going through it when it was airing. Partially because I'm a big fan of the actors playing other roles. I mean, this is referential to not only holodeck episodes of years past, but also that first season of Strange New Worlds, when they are caught in the Doctor's daughter's fantasy.
The Elysian Kingdom.
The Elysian Kingdom, which I don't have the build for it, or the hair for it, but I want to wear Pike's costume from that with the
sash
command, the sash with the big command pin, all cartoony. It's just it's so great. But I also love a La'an episode, because La'an is a character that, again, when you read about her on paper before she steps on screen, when you're leading up to the show, she's a descendant of Khan, and her name's La'an. What are we doing here? What is this?
Right.
But she fast became one of my favorite characters on the show. I love her so much. I think she's fantastic, and I got the opportunity to meet Christina Chong, who plays La'an, at Dragon Con a couple of years back. And did I tell you this story?
No, I don't think so.
Then I get to tell the story again. So, I am the Gorn ambassador because I love the Gorn, but I love the Gorn primarily because though she's grown out of it a bit because she is getting to be a teenager now. My daughter loves the Gorn.
Oh,
it's thanks to a Christmas book. It's basically "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," but it's all Star Trek stuff.
Yes.
And it is the Gorn reading horrible tales about the evils of the Federation to little Gorn, his kid. And it's just, it's Trek the Halls is the name of the book.
I was going to say, is that Trek the Halls?
It's Trek the Halls. I love that book. And as a result, Arena is now the TOS episode that I've probably seen the most. And nice. my daughter loved the Gorn so much that when she found out that she was going to get to go to Dragon Con. Now, my wife and I have been going to Dragon Con this will be 20 years this year.
Wow. Geez.
Yeah. We came, it was before the first Dragon Con we came to was a month before I moved to Georgia from South Carolina. So
wow.
it's before I actually officially moved here. But normally, this is a mom and dad trip and the kids don't get to go. The kids have to, but my in-laws who normally watch them during that time, they had a wedding to go to that weekend. So the kids had to come with us. And as a result, my daughter begged to go as the Gorn. And my wife put together an amazing Gorn costume for her.
Oh yeah.
I'll pull when we get a second of dead air, I'll see if I can pull a picture to send you, because it's so good.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
And the stars in my eyes when it was announced that Christina Chong was going to be at Dragon Con that year.
Yeah.
And actors are actors.
Yep.
And the Gorn on Strange New Worlds look very different than the Gorn on the original series, which is what she watched. And at the time, because the Gorn are a lot more violent and scary in Strange New Worlds, I had not let her watch those episodes yet because she was a lot younger then.
Yeah.
But we're standing in line to see Christina Chong. She's singing. They're playing music and she's singing along and I'm singing along, and she's a singer, so we're having a little a little duet, and that song happens to be September by Earth, Wind and Fire, which is just a song that I happen to adore. It's one of my favorite songs. So already this experience is magical for me.
Yeah.
And then she catches eyes with my daughter. Oh no, it's a Gorn. She knew, she clocked it. We took pictures. It was a whole thing, and it was so much fun. She spent so much time with us, despite the fact that she had other people waiting to see her. She could not have been kinder and friendlier, and she knew who she was dressed as, and it was a perfect experience. Christina Chong, you're fantastic. Number one, always love you.
Yeah, she seems like a real sweetheart, and just reading about her background of coming up on the London stage, and all the classical music training, dance training, which is on full display throughout season 3. But it's also clear, like, she really loves this job. She really loves this cast. She really loves this gig. And it's not, and she's not the only one amongst the Strange New Worlds cast to display that. But it really is nice to see someone who does not have to do that, be so into it, and just see the little kids and just really just dive in head first of like, this is awesome. This is so great.
She made that experience so magical for us, like, and for me especially, because like I was dressed as Captain Kirk as well, which was great. We were Kirk and the Gorn, and we even had the little the translator things on our belts so that my wife also made. It was a tremendous experience. So yes, when it comes to watching an episode that features her specifically, I'm always happy, because again, you give a fan a real fantastic experience, they will be with you forever.
yes, that is very, very true. So getting into specifics again, while staying spoiler free, what were your thoughts about this episode? Like the specifics of, kind of sort of a later version of Dixon Hill, and we're in this early version of the holodeck, and we've got
the recreation room.
The recreation room, that's right.
Although they do just go and call it the holodeck. The entire time. I was glad that they name checked the recreation room, which, for the uninitiated, the holodeck, or what would become the holodeck, was first appeared on an animated series episode as the recreation room. But also just tying that into why it's then not on a starship for another 100 years.
Yeah. I loved seeing not only that, and I've not held back my love for not only Christina Chong, but Anson Mount, Jess Bush. Jess Bush gets some wonderful comedic turns in this.
And she gets to use her real accent.
She gets to use her real accent. Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many fun little things about this episode. But clearly both of us are chomping at the bit to get into all of the little nitty gritty. So before we go any further, let's get to this week's recap. Brought to you in part by our Patreon supporters, Rev J, Jerry Antimano, Kitty B, Ed Milner, Fleet Admiral First Class Fred Sims, and Ren.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Lon is tasked with testing a new recreational holographic simulator and asked the computer to create a murder mystery for her to solve.
It generates a scenario featuring the cast and crew of a 1960s sci-fi series called The Last Frontier, using the likenesses of the Enterprise crew.
How convenient.
As the story gets more involved, Lon asks Spock for help.
Scotty attempts to single-handedly balance the large amount of power required to run the holodeck with the ship's other needs, barely allowing it to escape damage from a collapsing neutron star.
When Lon is trapped and the holodeck's safety protocols fail, Scotty sends a message explaining that she must solve the mystery to end the simulation.
Lon, who's grown close to Spock during dance lessons over recent months, realizes that the Spock she's with is a hologram. And the murderer.
The simulation ends, and La'an recommends holodecks not be approved for general use until the technology is improved. roughly 1987.
Una encourages Scotty to ask for help in the future. During another dance lesson, Lon and the real Spock kiss.
Hi, it's me, Flip Kiki, the Trek Queen of NYC, and you're listening to the Computer Resume podcast.
We are in spoiler territory. So, first things first, let's go ahead and talk about this opening sequence. Like, it is. Did you ever see Star Trek Continues, the fan made? I guess it's technically season 4 that's on YouTube.
So there's Star Trek Continues, and there's the Star Trek New Voyages. Is that the other one? They were like competing at the same time. So I can't remember which one is which, unfortunately. But this was a mixture of that combined with like a Saturday Night Live sketch combined with everybody's impression of what people who've never seen Star Trek think Star Trek feels like.
Yes, absolutely. It's so great and just so chock full of, like, you can tell they put these, trying to get this to feel authentic. It feels like the set was put together as best as they could as quickly as possible. Just like, okay, let's slap some paint on it and it's fine.
But I would expect it actually takes more work to make something look more roughshod than it actually implies, especially in the age of, high resolution 4K digital video cameras and stuff like that. Like, they had to put a lot of work to make this look cheap.
Yeah. But you get the very sparkly outfits and
Oh, the costuming was so good, and it's with the little kind of badges, and you've got Paul Wesley doing his best possible Shatner impression. It's like oh wait a second, you mean this is what he wanted. This is what everybody seemed acted like they wanted Kirk to sound like when he was on this show, and I'm not so sure that you did. Even with his incredible diction.
Yes,
diction.
His diction. Got to give it to Paul Wesley for the use of eyebrows, and it's so funny, especially as the episode goes on, to hear all the characters that are portraying actors who are characters who are portraying actors talk about the show, that the opening shot starts on Jess Bush's legs as she's bent over the console. Like, you have a chair, you can just sit, but no. This is 1960s mass market media. We got, sex sells, folks. We got to do what we can.
There is a line that she says in this that I meant to look up and I didn't look it up, but my lines and my skirts have gotten shorter as the season has gone on. It's a great line, and I bet that it was one that's pulled from history. I didn't look it up. I meant to, but I got busy and distracted. But I bet that there is a performer on this show or a similar one that has said something very, very similar to that.
Probably. That's a safe bet. I while we're talking about Jess Bush, I mentioned her great comedic turns. There's one thing where you see Paul Wesley as Maxwell Saint when it dawns on him of like, oh, ratings. it cuts to Jess Bush, who's like, yeah, and then just kind of makes this face at him. It gets me every time. Like, don't get me wrong, this cast is amazing, and Anson Mount has definitely had some really fantastic comedic moments, but I think he's tied for first place with Jess Bush, who has just done some wonderful comedic things on the show, and I would love to talk with her sometime about what of those things is in the script, what of those things is director's choices versus acting choices versus any of that other stuff. I gotta imagine, and we're putting the cart in front of the horse a little bit here, but having Jonathan Frakes direct the episode, he's such a funny guy anyway. I gotta imagine there was a little bit of influence there.
He's a funny guy. He's also been through, because he also directed those old scientists, which watching them talk about the creation of that episode is so good. Go back and watch any interview he's done about it, because there was a lot of improv on that set that there had not been really ever before on Star Trek.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder if any of that came through here. That maybe they were a little looser with some of that stuff. Like, was that ratings line a Paul Wesley original, or was that in the script?
Yeah. There's a lot of things that could be choices by the writers. Certainly could be a choice from the director. But I think Jonathan Frakes does bring that vibe to a set that just kind of puts everybody at ease. The guy's been around not only directing, but has been in the Star Trek franchise at this point for 40 years, maybe
almost.
It'll
be 40 years next year, which it will be 40 years from the premiere of Next Generation next year.
Oh God.
Yeah.
But I mean, with so many accolades, you got to imagine that I imagine that a Star Trek cast feels very safe with Jonathan Frakes at the helm.
I mean, that's earned. This is a guy that, outside of actual, that were directors first, I'm pretty sure he is, of any of the cast members, the one who's directed the most episodes of Star Trek.
I think you are correct on that.
He has directed an episode of every series after the one that he was in. Obviously, he couldn't direct an episode of TOS, but he directed Next Generation. He directed Deep Space Nine. He directed Voyager, I think. I don't know if he directed any Enterprise. I bet he did.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
But obviously, he's directed Discovery, and he's directed Strange New Worlds. He's directed Starfleet Academy. He is a guy that, when you have a big episode that you need to land, they bring in Frakes.
Yeah,
because he's got the cast, because he's been there. He's been one of them. He still is one of them. I guess he didn't direct a Lower Decks episode because that's animation. He did not get to direct an LD.
Yeah, I was wondering about Prodigy. I was wondering if he had directed any Prodigy, but that's animated as well.
I think animation is just too different. But he did appear on Lower Decks. I don't know if he appeared on Prodigy. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. If he did, I wonder if it was as someone else other than Riker.
Both looking at the memory alpha of Jonathan Frakes. He was also on Very Short Treks. That was he's got 8 Next Generation directing credits, 3 Deep Space Nine, 3 Voyager, 2 Star Trek films. We can't forget that he directed First Contact and Insurrection.
Oh yeah, and some cinema stuff too. Yeah.
He did not direct an episode of Enterprise. Interesting.
Oh, okay.
8 Discovery, 6 Star Trek Picard, 2 Strange New Worlds, and 1 Starfleet Academy.
So no animation.
No animation. But he did appear on Lower Decks. Does not look like he appeared on Prodigy.
Gotcha. Yeah, I recalled there were a lot of cast members that directed Enterprise. Dorn, Burton, Robbie McNeil. There were a bunch of people. But yeah, that's right. Frakes didn't. But yeah, it's so funny that this silly little show has become such a serious thing, and it was so good to see it go back and embrace its camp roots with this episode. So we've talked about Christina Chong, who plays this detective, Amelia Murray, very Dixon Hill, very Picard as Dixon Hill, just maybe 10 years later, 10, 15 years later.
And it's notable she is the only one that's playing effectively herself in this. She
correct.
is the only one knowingly playing a different character within the realm of the show within a show, if you will.
Right, right. Now there were basically everybody else in the cast got put into this murder mystery narrative, but there were some notable additions that were actually based on other people within the Star Trek franchise. So just really quick, Anson Mount as Pike played TK Bellows, the creator and writer of Last Frontier. And he based his performance, of course, on Gene Roddenberry. So he apparently listened to speeches, watched video, tried to mimic his mannerisms, and the whole thing. Rebecca Romaine, as number one, plays Sonny Lupino, the producer and former actor. The character is named after British actress Ida Lupino, but looking at the visual of her representation, costuming, hair, and the whole bit, and that she's a producer of this little space show, it's clearly a nod to Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
So that, and there's a couple of expositional lines in there to kind of clue you in of like, oh yeah, this is Lucy. Paul Wesley, as we mentioned, clearly based his performance of Maxwell Saint on William Shatner. This was the interesting one, I thought. Melissa Navia, of course, is Erica Ortegas, plays Lee Woods, who is the doctor of the ship on Last Frontier.
But
and
also, ironically, the pirate and weapons officer. But,
yeah. Apparently that ship only has three crewmen. But yeah, so also, and so the doctor, so Lee Woods plays the doctor, but Lee Woods is also an aspiring screenwriter who's fond of Westerns. And now what I found was that this was clearly a nod to DeForest Kelley, who also played the doctor on TOS, but was also in a whole bunch of Westerns. And of course, DeForest, Lee Woods, like it's very,
makes
a very clear nod. Yeah. And then, of course, Jess Bush as Adelaide Shaw was based on Majel Barrett. So yeah, there's some.
Speaking of Majel Barrett, all things considered, when it comes to her role in this, it just makes me think about Majel Barrett, and because she played number one in The Cage, the original pilot.
Yeah,
the character that Rebecca Romaine now plays. Number one didn't have a name at this point. She was and when the show went to air, when they had done the second pilot, she was not there. And then all of a sudden, a little bit later, they needed to add this new character, this nurse Christine Chappell, and they were so worried that we can't bring Majel Barrett back in. We can't bring Majel Barrett back in. So they just put her in a blonde wig or dyed her hair blonde, and she got cast because they didn't know that it was her.
Yeah.
Obviously Majel had a bit of an in because of her relationship with Gene Roddenberry being, his wife, but that's a whole other.
Yeah, it's his wife eventually. Like there was some other stuff behind the scenes, but that's a whole
other conversation.
That is a whole different conversation, entirely different episode of the podcast.
That some of the casting producers, like Gene, obviously knew and wanted her to be on it, but the casting people that didn't recognize that she had already been on the show because she'd had different colored hair is just. You can't make that stuff up. That's just one of those hilarious things in the old 1960s.
And for sure.
That's where, when it comes to this episode, while I found it funny and I liked the actual Last Frontier show that they did, I liked way more the stuff of them as the actors behind the scenes, whether it was either on set or when they were in this mansion when the game becomes afoot. Especially Anson Mount as TK Bellows, who I think makes the biggest like change in personality, the biggest like point A to point B difference between those characters. Just really, which weirdly the fakest thing in the episode is the gut that he's wearing in some of those scenes. But
yeah, yeah,
but I think his performance is just so fun and good here that I love it.
Yeah, I think if you were to watch any episode, I think if you were to watch the pilot of Strange New Worlds next to Elysian Kingdom, next to this episode's Space Adventure Hour, you might think they're different shows. Like it's his performance just he fits into any of these roles. It like wearing a glove, just and so funny and believable.
The hair they have on him is just so different and good.
Yeah. All those space hair products. But yeah, I wanted to ask you, and I'm so glad I was able to get you to come on for this episode, being such a fan, player, and game master of various TTRPGs. I wanted to ask if any of the games that you've played have ever gotten away from you. Like, have you taken the script and completely thrown it out? I'm just kind of like, okay, well, this is where we're at.
It's funny because as I'm more of a player than a game master. So it's really it's sort of whatever the game master, usually our Patrick, who you know as well, though he was a player in my campaign, he's usually the guy that's behind the scenes, twisting everything around and stuff like that. And it's funny when you have a group of 5 people that are not in control but effectively wrestle control away from the one person that needs it. And you spend an entire hour going down this path in the story that literally does not matter, but only because the players find it funny and engaging.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes around to on a lot of our shows and a lot of our seasons, because we rotate casts, or we rotate characters, I should say. Same cast, different characters. We always end up adopting NPCs along the way. And in our most recent season, there is we encountered what is effectively a holographic alien bat, and that character was only supposed to be there for a scene.
Yep.
And and he was encountering or working very heavily with one of our castmates in particular, who actively did not like this guy, did not like him, was ready for it to be done.
Yeah.
So us as players, as we happen to do, seeing this being the reaction, work to free this holographic bat construct from the computer it was stuck in, and now it has been grafted onto this guy and has been the entire time. This happened in like the 4th or 5th episode, and now Bruce the Bat is just a part of the show.
Oh, I love that so much.
It's because there's a certain level that you as a GM have to know your players.
Yep.
And you have to, and whether you're using, like, we use a lot of adventure paths, which are pre-written stuff, and so, while it's very heavily based on this one thing that already exists, but there's some room for massaging, because this NPC that we meet this one time may not mean anything for the book as written, but it might mean a lot to interact with this particular player in the campaign. And the fact that by the time we get to Strange New Worlds time frame, the computer could just do that.
Yep. Yeah. Knowing your players is like step 1, and then finding where you can push and get them to think outside the box, get them to, in some cases, quite literally think outside the box of like, setting up different traps, setting up different puzzles, watching how they work together. We spent one whole session of them trying to open a door. Now, it's not like a door on hinges. It was like a magical door that you had to solve this puzzle that involved flowers and colors and making this tea that you had to feed into a statue, and the statue would either accept it or spit acid in your face. Like, yeah, it was.
Or you spend 45 minutes in the middle of combat for a character to try to roll high enough on an athletics check to jump on a desk.
Yep, that happens.
And as a result, every time we see a desk in any room anywhere, we have to comment on the desk. Oh, there are desks here. We need to be careful.
Yeah, it's those games, man. They can get out of hand. They can get out of hand pretty quickly. Have you had anybody take interesting turns in terms of like take interesting turns in as much as who they are embodying? Because that's one thing I noticed here is when Lon has the idea to play Amelia Moon, this is like the first time in 2.5 seasons. We're almost halfway through the 3rd season, but this is the first time we see Lon kind of light up of like her inner child coming back. Like we are seeing a different Lon here getting ready for this mission of testing out the holodeck.
Yeah.
But have you seen anybody kind of express different side of themselves through role play at the table?
So a lot, because we've been doing this a long time, I don't want to say a lot, a few times over the years, our GM likes to bake in little surprises for the other players that one player is already in the know about.
Okay.
That there was at one point, in this, I guess, spoilers for the last season of CosmicCrit. I'm not going to go into full detail, but when we had one of our player characters, as we were with him, presented in a particular way, and then we were investigating this lab that had a radioactive meltdown hundreds of years ago, and we recover security tapes that happen to feature somebody that looks exactly like this guy that we're with.
Oh.
and how that washes out, and how that happens through all of this is, I don't want to give away everything, but let's just say that as part of this, our player character also died. And we spent a lot of time to get him to come back to life. And as he came back to life, he came back to life about 90% normal, except one of his arm was a big black swirly tentacle.
Oh.
And if you know Starfinder lore well enough, you can maybe figure out what actually happened. But it was just a fun thing that he knew about the entire time, and the GM knew about the entire time. But the two of them got to kind of teach that to the rest of us throughout the course of the year and change that we played that campaign.
Wow. Yeah. Are you one to put on voices for your characters, or
I try. It's
okay.
I've got to know the character well enough. I've got to have a deep, what's funny about that is that particular season, my character's voice changed constantly because I couldn't land on one. I couldn't have one that felt authentic. So it kind of just, it meandered the entire time. But if I have a strong connection to one of my characters, yes, I will do a voice.
Wow. Yeah. It's when I'm DMing or GMing, I will usually try to, especially as I'm prepping, one of the things I like to do is, rather than try to decide a voice, I'll actually go and cast the movie of like, oh, I could really, in reading the description, oh, that sounds like this particular actor. So I get, there's a village elder, and I remember going through that first part of Frozen Sick, and you meet a village elder, and for some reason, like reading the dialogue, I had Sam Elliott in my head, so I had to sort of drop it down a little bit and have a couple of extra S's.
Get a little country.
Welcome to Pale Bank Village, and we sure are glad you're here. Like, and just letting kind of that voice come out, not specifically trying to like, oh, he's British. Like,
my problem.
Here we are. Let's swing a sword or two.
My problem is that I need to see the character to art to really. Which luckily we get character art made, and it's just I gotta see the character art before the voice really solidifies.
Nice.
And this dude was a lizard, and I couldn't nail one down, and eventually it meandered in and out of like a Matt Berry-ish kind of like, yes, I say. But I can't do a good Matt Berry, so it was just my take on that, which I think probably worked better than just trying to do a Matt Berry impression anyway. But
the one time I did an impression at the table, it actually fit the NPC, and I could see my players around the table like slowly like cocking their head to the side, like listening to what I'm saying and how I'm saying it, going like, is he? Because one of our characters is trying to build firearms, like trying to invent and then construct firearms. So he needed a stock. I was like, well, you need to go see a wood carver. You need to go see, someone who works with a lot of wood. And he goes, and we find a carpenter. And as we start talking, the voice starts changing a little bit and sort of slows down, and it's not really Southern, but it's just kind of reserved, and everybody starts looking at, well, he talks about, I made this canoe, and I've made this pile of flutes over here.
Sir, you're gonna need a permit for that.
Oh, I have a permit right here. I'm the Parks Department administrator, the Parks Department director, and here it is. It says I can do what I want.
I can do what I want.
Make sure you direct all your questions to Leslie Nope. And so I like it slowly got into it. And as I kept going, eventually somebody at the table went, holy shit, are you doing Nick Offerman?
It's like, a pretty good Nick Offerman, dude.
Thank you.
I don't hear many
that.
Nick Offerman impressions. So.
It takes me a few sentences to slowly like get into it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Now there was one time where we were playing from Verge Games. They have an adaptation of Christmas Carol. So I was actually able to incorporate that into in between modules and took my players through it. And one of the things that we were doing before a session, I was having some anxiety, so I took, we'll say, anxiety medication, something to calm me down, as it were. It was a little bit stronger than I realized. I took it about an hour before we started the game, so right as we got into it, it was hitting me, and all my abilities, vocal or otherwise, just sort of flew out of my head. And at one point, I was going to voice someone with a British accent, and I was looking at the line and trying to find it. And finally, I just went, British accent, and then just started reading it in my normal voice.
That in particular reminds me, ironically, I don't know. This is a very famous song.
Okay.
But the version that pops into my head first sometimes, maybe because we're talking about Star Trek right now. Picture yourself in a boat on a river with tangerine trees and marmalade skies. The William Shatner version of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which if you've never heard it, go out and listen to it, because it is all of the William Shatner versions of songs are completely wild, but that one in particular, it does.
I feel like Rocket Man gets all the publicity, but
Yeah.
truly, they're all gems, folks.
His Mr. Tambourine Man with the breakdown at the end is
Oh,
Mr. Tambourine Man, Mr. Tambourine Man.
Oh, God. No, it's so good. I love it so much. Yeah. So, how do we feel about getting into a little bit of the narrative here? How do we feel about the turn that it was Spock all along? Like,
I feel like if it's been done better, like I get it. I get the idea of it, and I do honestly like the way that she figures it out because they hold each other for a moment, and that's when it clicks to her because she's been dancing with Spock, wink, for a little while now.
Yeah.
Which, boy, howdy, Kirk never talked about Spock back in the old days. Yeah, whoo-wee.
Hell, Jadzia Dax recognized it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh yeah, a lot of ladies got with Kirk, and she's like, no, Spock.
But I feel like because I liked the all the actors as the different characters within the realm of the 60s drama that I didn't love that Spock was a hologram the whole time and had actually been the killer and all of that stuff. It didn't land as well for me. Mostly because it just felt like he was just Spock the entire time. And I understand that is that because we're playing with a holodeck episode where we are referencing literally every other holodeck episode that's ever happened. We've got you've already mentioned the detective aspect, with Dixon Hill. We've got the Potato. You said that not a mystery that could beat Sherlock Holmes, but a mystery that could beat Data. Yep. And so you create Moriarty there and all of that. You've got all of the actors using their transporter patterns to create the holograms, which is just like our man Bashir from Deep Space Nine.
Oh yeah.
All of this stuff is very referential to other holodeck episodes, and I'm here for that. I just and honestly, I think it's probably because I loved the Spock and Chapel romance and relationship and chemistry between the two of them so much.
Yeah.
And that literally just stopped the last episode or two episodes ago.
Yeah.
That I feel like I don't need Spock and Lon getting together really at all, but especially so fast. It just seems, I don't know.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Kirk and Lon relationship, or the will they won't they, especially not only because I think Paul Wesley and Christina Chong just are great on screen together, but I love sort of the implications of what that means for Space Seed and ultimately Wrath of Khan. I really enjoyed the Kirk and Lon relationship. Really loved, like you said, Chapel and Spock.
I just have to say the Kirk and Lon relationship with her finally kind of meeting the real Kirk and Carol Marcus already being in the picture and already being pregnant by this point prior to Kirk taking command. Like, I bet if we did the timeline, that probably makes sense for when we meet David Marcus in Star Trek 2 versus anything else.
Yeah, that I think that tracks. Yeah, he would put him in his late teens, early 20s, somewhere around in there. I mean, if you got a 5-year mission, and he becomes an admiral, and he's already a lieutenant here. Carol Marcus is pregnant. Yeah, I think that puts him like late teens, early 20s. I mean, was he already a doctor himself? I don't remember. Might have been, but that might have been like he's a prodigy.
Nothing but Wesleys.
Nothing but Wesleys. Wesleys as far as the eye can see.
A Wesley here, a Wesley there, a Wesley everywhere. But yeah, but I mean the and again, that's where I think sometimes the show wants to have its cake and eat it too. And
Yeah.
I think the Lon Spock pairing is like, well, we can't have Pike get paired with anybody because that's both kind of weird, and also for the seasonal story that we're telling is no good.
Right.
So you have, and you've got the Doctor, but he's got his doctor stuff with, he just had his daughter ascend to another plane of existence not too long ago, and he's got war stories. About the only one you can do that with is Spock, which is ironic that he is the stoic, emotionless Vulcan.
Yep.
that has more on-screen romance than anybody else in the franchise.
Yeah. Jeez Louise. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if them creating that character in the 60s was meant to be a commentary on sort of the stoic, strong, quiet type of guy, looking at a lot of guys who are, coming out of the war and stuff like that. The strong, silent type was definitely a character trope that got used and used often. So who's to say, did they intend for Spock to be that way? I don't know. It doesn't really matter at this point.
Yeah, I think it was just a way for him to appear alien in a way that didn't require that much makeup. Just throw some ears on him. And
yeah, exactly. Well, do you have anything else about this episode that jumps out at you before we move into the stats?
We talked about the costuming for the show within a show. I just have to draw another, like the costuming and the vibe of everybody in their 1960s look was so great.
Yeah.
I also just loved the ironic mentions of communism, because that was the 60s and that was a thing that was like, and the way that people responded to it was very telling as far as it was just very, very funny.
Mr. Spock doesn't watch TV. Oh, you're a communist.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
but also just the sort of comparisons between like TV and movies, and that TV and movies distinction existed for a long time. I mean, you and I are of a certain age, and it definitely existed while we were coming up. I think it's only really blurred lines and kind of disappeared. Not really disappeared, but in the last 5 or 10 years, as we get more and more into the
I know
event TV stuff. I didn't even hear it. So
I know that with certain shows, I think it's a little older than that. If I had to guess, I would say it was probably with the advent of shows like prestige shows coming from like HBO.
I mean, it's The Sopranos it's the Sopranos era of HBO, and everything that came after it, and both stream and both the movie channels making TV shows, and as we get into sort of the big ones with streaming services, like Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, that attempts to do something more than what came before.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there was definitely that level of, I think, coming from theater was an event. So when you look at a lot of movie premieres, back in the day, where the director would come out and actually give a little speech before the movie started, these things were huge events. People dressed to the nines for these things. And if I actually have a Blu-ray copy of Cecil B. DeMille's The Ten Commandments, And the Blu-ray cut has Cecil B. DeMille walking out through the curtains and giving the speech about the whole thing. And, okay, thank you. Let's begin. And then it goes into the overture. I mean, this is just like theater back in the day. So coming from that and transitioning to quote unquote modern motion pictures, that was still very much the vibe of watching movies, was that it was this very highbrow, very elite group of writers, directors, actors, producers, technicians of all sorts, and that TV was kind of less than. And then somewhere along the way, people figured out that the TV stars were getting bigger fan responses, and they were actually making a lot of money with these ads, during the commercial breaks and all this, that, and the other. And finally someone realizes, like, oh yeah, the reason people love these TV stars, it's a different relationship with the viewer. The viewer is bringing this character, thusly an actor, into their home. It's a very intimate exchange. You're in that person's personal space, as opposed to getting in your car, driving to the movie theater. And there ended up being that shift. I think it was probably late 90s, early 2000s. Probably, I'll go out on a limb and say that probably Star Trek the Next Generation probably helped that, with Patrick Stewart. And not only Patrick Stewart, but the rest of the cast, especially some of the day players. Because if you go back through and look at those special guest stars, so many of them are legendary character actors who received that classical training. And they're putting it to use on this little space show, this space adventure hour that we call Star Trek, and turning it into something really not only worth watching in the moment, but something power. And I think that's definitely one of Star Trek's biggest assets, is the fact that it has been around. Here now, in a few months, it'll be 60 years. So there's
and you say that about, like the fact that when you watch Next Generation, you could have somebody like David Ogden Stiers in an episode. You could have James Cromwell, pre-Babe, pre-Oscar winner James Cromwell, in multiple guest roles in Star Trek: The Next Generation, and eventually becoming Zephram Cochrane in the movies as both of their stars rise. But again, even that is sort of, when we talk about the movie and TV show thing, like Next Generation was on for 7 years, and then they went to make movies. Now, we had the original series cast make 6 movies. And a lot of that was as a result of, they were making Phase 2, and then Star Wars came out and blew the lid off of everything. It's like, well, why don't we make this a movie? And so Star Trek went from a TV franchise to a movie franchise. Now, I have particular feelings about that as a concept and a context, especially as we get into what has been announced when it comes to what is next for Star Trek. But that's a whole other conversation. Because I think that Star Trek as a concept, as a franchise, works better with smaller stories in your house.
Definitely.
No, I love most of the Star Trek movies dearly, but no Star Trek movie will ever match how an episode like Best of Both Worlds makes me feel, or The Inner Light makes me feel. Or All Good Things makes me feel.
Relics for me.
Relics is a great one. In the Pale Moonlight. Like, these are stories.
The list goes on and on.
The list goes on and on. All of these episodes will always, in my mind, be better than the movies ever will be. And that is where I look at the sort of irony of T.K. Bellows, Anson Mount's show within a show character, talking about how movies are where the real art is made. And while yeah, that may be true, and it may still be true today to a certain extent, because a movie is meant to be a movie, a contained thing, and
Mhm.
that's a whole other conversation. But the idea, and this, I believe this is what Sonny Lupino, Rebecca Romaine's character, comes in and says, is just about how people get attached to these characters. People get attached to these people that are in their home every week.
Yeah.
And while I do think, I do think Uhura's character in the show maybe lands a little too much like, yeah, because this is Star Trek, right? Who knows how many kids at home watching this will go to space themselves, which we know definitely happened. Mae Jemison, who was an astronaut, and then in Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh yeah, yeah,
in the Thomas Riker episode. Speaking of Jonathan Frakes, but
yeah.
but it's just, I just think it's so interesting and funny, because I have such a much closer attachment because of these characters that were in my house every day because of syndication growing up than
Yeah.
I do to movie characters that only have 90 minutes of runtime or 4 hours of runtime with a sequel.
Yeah. Looking at, and it's so funny because I was looking at the TNG movies, and my least favorite of the TNG movies is Insurrection.
Not
It
Nemesis? Sorry, different.
yeah. But for me, Insurrection just doesn't hit as hard as Generations, First Contact, and Nemesis. Of course, Nemesis, because of all the things that happen in Picard, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, and the funny thing is, with Insurrection, the critique I have for it is it feels too much like an episode of just like it just, I think this would have been better as just a special 2-parter episode, because
Yeah.
you could have set this in almost any season, and probably had the same effect.
Yeah.
It just didn't quite land for me. I know it's got to be somebody's favorite, and I never want to yuck anybody's yum, but
as a movie, it's weak.
yeah,
As a TNG season 9.
sure. Well, let's even go further back to the motion picture. The motion picture, if you cut probably 45 minutes out of it, it's the best TOS episode ever. Like, the plot is about that thick, and they stretch it because it is a movie, and they've got a bigger budget to do a bunch of special effects that were frankly just beating a dead horse at one point. I think they've made fun of it. I think they made fun of it on Family Guy. I know they made fun of it in Lower Decks. But to a point where it's just kind of
when that flyby of the refit Enterprise goes on, I stand out of my seat. I stand up and I watch that whole thing standing. All 27 minutes of it. I don't care. I'm there for it.
It is pretty nice, but it does drag just a bit.
Look, I could go on and on about motion picture, because I it was one that I always kind of skipped through and maybe didn't watch when I was younger. But as an adult, rewatching it really for the first time a couple of years back, with the exception of one of the main actors in it who turned out to be a huge piece of garbage, but that movie is incredible. It's fantastic, and it did more than you think it did.
Yeah.
Namely, the instrument that was created to make the V'ger noise, that was created specifically to make the V'ger noise. I'm a big defender of the motion picture. I want to wear, I don't have the body for this, but I want to dress as McCoy with the beard and the deep cut furry chest with the medallion. I want to dress like that so bad.
It's a great look. It's a great look. Did you see the motion picture when it came back to theaters for the anniversary?
I missed it. I had too much stuff going on.
I think that might have been maybe not the first, but definitely one of the full sit down watch throughs that I've done of the motion picture. And yeah, it was incredible. I was like, okay, it's dragging a little bit, but seeing it in the theater,
Yeah.
seeing that theater is different. It's
Wow. Wow. Sorry, that was my
Yeah.
impression of the V'ger noise. I can't do it because nothing can make that noise. With nobody's
See,
mouth
let's
and
see if
throat can make that noise.
let's see if Nick Offerman can do it. Wow, 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 wow.
Leslie.
Let's let Leslie handle this.
That was great. Ah, you got that
Thank
down,
you.
dude. Get that down.
Oh man. Okay, well, so yeah, we've gushed a lot about this episode, and we could continue to do so into the wee hours, but as we do every episode lovingly, we ask the question, who do we blame? So this episode was written by Dana Horgan and Catherine Lynn. Dana's last work in the timeline was season 2, episode 9, Subspace Rhapsody, which we got into a heated discussion over with Ian Starrect Ramsey. And Catherine's last was just 2 episodes earlier, Those Old Scientists, directed by this episode's same director, Jonathan Two Takes Frakes. And guest stars, it's mostly our regular players, but there is somebody I want to highlight here, and that's Kira Golian, I believe is how you pronounce her last name. As
could be Gulen. It's tough.
yeah,
to sell, tough to sell with it.
Golin. She plays the Angonian, which is the green-headed eyeballs on sticks.
Eyeballs on sticks. It's a great costume.
It's fantastic. She is Canadian, of course. A lot of our day players are from Canada. It's shot in Canada, of course.
It's almost certainly Goulian or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. She's an accomplished singer and dancer. Her first appearance in the franchise was actually just 2 episodes ago as the Endosian bartender Kelsing in Wedding Bell Blues, which we discussed with BQN's own Amy Nelson. I love the Endosian species.
I'm glad they're getting love in other stuff. Like,
yeah, they brought him back in Lower Decks. Did they have him in Prodigy? It's of course it's a lot easier to do it in animation.
Yeah, I feel like maybe you know what? Did they have RX in Prodigy in one of the episodes?
I don't know.
What did he show up in that episode where dude was putting everybody on the bridge? It's where same one where they used Odo and
oh, I don't know. Gosh, it's been a while since I've watched.
I may be inventing this in my head. I don't remember.
Well, I always said, with the Kelvin timeline, now that unfortunately Leonard Nimoy's passed away and oh my God, Anton Yelchin, of course, tragically passed away. Yeah, too soon.
Like,
but
extremely too soon.
If they were,
sorry, I just every time Anton Yelchin comes up, I just have to. I think about how sad I am. I didn't know him personally. I just he was on the verge of such a great thing. It kills me.
Yeah, it's really a bummer. But I always thought that if they were going to continue the Kelvin timeline films, that they should introduce Emrys and Eric's. Not to fill the gap, but I mean, it would be a nice nod to not only the Trek of yesterday, but like the animated series, and you've got the special effects to make it look really awesome.
Do we know that the Kelvin timeline didn't introduce Emrys?
That's a good question. It's a good question.
And maybe also Emrys's identical twin sister.
Quite possibly. Well, Drew, let me ask you a question. Do you think this is essential viewing? If somebody is watching Star Trek through for the first time and they get to this episode, season 3, episode 4, Space Adventure Hour, is this a must-see episode, or is this one that they can skip?
I hate to say it, but I think it's a skip. I don't think it's, which I think may be the first time I'm saying this on your show of the episodes that you've had me on for.
Yeah, we've had you on for quite a few.
As much as I like this episode, this is one of my standouts for season 3 of Strange New Worlds. I do like it a lot, but it is very standalone and in a way that doesn't really factor into any of the overall plot of the season even.
Yeah, I think the kiss at the end kind of seals it of like, oh, they're a thing now. But I think with everything that we saw in the last episode, or I guess 2 episodes ago, Wedding Bell Blues, that kind of set the stage for it. So this is kind of unnecessary in terms of the Spock Lon relationship. You
Yeah,
know it's
the
it's what they're going to show in the next previously on.
yeah they do feature the young nurse, like medical officer guy, that becomes a much bigger part of the season later on.
Mm-hmm.
So just further makes him like an integral part of the season before what happens to him happens.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. In terms of character arcs, yeah, because basically with all of these, we've had some reason to say yes, be it mostly because of character track that someone's following. If you're following Spock, if you're following Pike, yada yada yada.
I mean,
Or it's something with the overall narrative that makes it essential. But this one's kind of.
I will say maybe if you're looking at Scotty episodes throughout the years,
Okay,
you could make an argument that this is an integral Scotty episode. But even then, it's kind of a throwaway moment, and something that could have been handled a little better.
It's funny you mentioned that, and I mentioned a few moments ago how my love of the episode Relics, which, if anybody doesn't know just off the top of your head, that is the TNG episode where they find Scotty in the pattern buffer, and Scotty and Geordi kind of do their thing. I think this episode would watch well paired with Relics, just to see. There's the whole pattern buffer store, using someone's pattern in the holodeck, but also storing it for safekeeping. And with Scotty's involvement in the holodeck, I think this would make a nice pairing with Relics. But honestly, this is going to be the first time that I'm saying, if you're a history buff, this would be a good episode for you. If you dig sort of not only general pop culture history, but specifically the history of television filmmaking and how shows like Star Trek came to be, I think this makes a really great introduction to that sort of thing. You see a version of Gene Roddenberry, you see a version of Lucille Ball, you see a version of William Shatner, and you kind of get the behind the scenes of that.
I would have loved to have seen a version of DC Fontana.
I would have too. Yeah. That would have been really cool. Good old Dottie. Dottie, we miss you. We miss you dearly. Oh gosh. Well, Drew, thank you so much for coming on the show. Amidst trying to keep order upstairs.
Order upstairs is a phrase that means many different things, including
quite literally in the old brain bucket.
I hope the taps on the old noggin went through on the microphone, but
sounded hollow, honestly. No. There it is. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Do you have any parting thoughts about this episode, thoughts about the season, thoughts about Strange New Worlds, thoughts about the franchise, thoughts about your return to the Computer Resume podcast as our Gorn Ambassador? Any parting thoughts before we go?
My name is Drew, and I love Star Trek in all of its forms. But ultimately, despite what TK Bellows and many other people in the current world may think, Star Trek belongs on television.
Well said. Well, folks, next time we will be joined by Dungeon Master, author, podcaster, and former engineer aboard the aircraft carrier USS Enterprise, Michael LeBlanc, for a discussion of Strange New Worlds Season 3, Episode 5, Through the Lens of Time, which is available wherever you decide to watch Star Trek. Drew, where can people find the things that you're involved in, games that you are a part of or running, and reach out to you on the interwebs?
Yeah. So if you, of course, we talked about CosmicCrit, which is a show that I've been on for a number of years. It's where me and all of my friends play tabletop role-playing games, specifically the Starfinder game by Paizo, the same people that make Pathfinder. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, but in space with spaceships and magic, and it's really cool. You can find that at CosmicCrit.com. You can also find another show that I do with me and my buddy Miles, who has also been on this show a couple of times, where we basically talk about whatever we want from nerd pop culture stuff. That's themoreyounerd.com, themoreyounerd.com. And you can find me at both of those websites. But of course, if you join the Cosmic Crit Discord, that's really the place that you get to talk to me all day while I am bored at work. So,
and I am at Mr. Todd A. Davis on all of the socials. From all of us at the Computer Resume podcast, thank you so much for listening. And I'll see you in 10 Forward.
Please support us on Patreon and like, rate, review, and share on all your favorite platforms. Feel free to send us your subspace transmissions to computerresumepodcasts@gmail.com or at Computer Resume on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Computer Resume podcast was created and produced by Mr. Todd A. Davis. Our logo was designed by Will Martin and Justin Bishop. The opening theme was produced by Justin Bishop, and our outro music was provided with permission by Dronode. Additional music was provided by Mr. Todd A. Davis and Gary Horn, and the voice of Computer Resume podcast and executive producer, me, Kat Davis. # LLAP. We'll see you next time.
Going through a Star Trek. We're doing Star Trek stuff in space. We probably got some phasers and shuttle pods, and we're gonna find a brand new race.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?